Hello everybody and welcome back to Screen Stars. I'm doing a documentary review today, and it is the documentary called Best All by Himself that was released in 2016, and it is about the genius footballer that was George Best. Now, I make no secret of the fact that I'm a Manchester United fan. However, I believe any true football fan out there can appreciate the at his peak, the type of footballer that George Best was. His talent was just undeniable, and I don't care what football team you manage, you support. Um, so I was wanting to watch this documentary for a number of reasons. The main one being obviously I'm a Manchester United fan. However, I knew it would probably be quite difficult to watch because it wasn't just going to focus on his genius, it was going to focus on his flaws. And of those, he had many, it is clear. And this really is a warts and all documentary, and it doesn't pull any punches. And it gives you like the life story of George Best from right when he arrived at Manchester United to his death, basically in 2005. So the documentary starts, like I say, when he arrived at Manchester United, and it talks, some of this is through George's Best's words, because no doubt he's been interviewed many times over the years about his career and his life, and he talks about when he first arrived at Manchester United from Northern Ireland as a young boy. And he was offered a trial at Manchester United, and initially he left after a couple of days because he was homesick and he went back to Ireland. But his parents managed to convince Manchester United to have him back for another trial. Um, and Sir Matt Busby said yes, he obviously could see something there, and he invited him back. And he stayed this time, and he became part of the Matt Busby's team that went on after the Busby Babes and went on to glory and winning league titles and winning the European Cup, etc. And it focused um, heavily initially on his career right up until he won the European Cup. Um, and when after that, when Sir Matt Busby decided it was time to go and time to retire. Um, and throughout this and the whole documentary, there's like footage of his teammates, his friends, his girlfriends, all talking about him, very frank and open and honest. There were some omissions I felt. I didn't. There was no interview with Bobby Charlton, and some others that you would have expect. You know, the Dennis Laws, etc., and maybe even some of the modern day footballers or even managers like Sir Alex Ferguson or others who um, could have done some kind of commentary and made some kind of observations on his impact at the club, etc. But they didn't. They just really focused on the people that knew him quite intimately, really, um, as on a friendship level or in a relationship level. So it was all wonderful right up until the point where he won the European Cup, and then Matt Busby retired, and then it all went to pot, really. He became this ultra mega celebrity, the first football superstar. He found drink and fame and women, and he couldn't handle it. It was all very clear, and he had it all went downhill at Manchester United over a number of seasons to the point where he was going missing. He wasn't turning up for training. There was manager after manager after Sir Matt Busby retired, and he didn't get on with any of them, and to the point where he ended up retiring at 29, which is heartbreaking, really, when you think about it. He didn't retire from football; he retired from Manchester United, and then it focused on his career when he went to America. Um, and that some of that quite surprised me. The fact that you wouldn't have thought that American soccer at the time, as they called it, was anything at all. I mean, it's hardly anything now, but it was arguably even bigger then. There were people like Pelé playing in the league and what have you at that time, and when George Best went over. So there was a boom at that stage of its career in America, soccer. but it died off fairly quickly, and so did his career in America. He just kept getting swapped from team to team, and he kept drinking and getting worse. And needless to say, this documentary was very, very hard hitting and quite hard to watch at times. But it did celebrate both the genius of George Best, but it also showed you his flaws, and didn't pull any punches really. So there was a lot about this documentary I really enjoyed, and some that I didn't enjoy, but it was interesting to learn. But if you are definitely a fan of George Best or even football in general, I think you will find quite a lot in this documentary to enjoy. So there you go. Those are my thoughts on the football documentary Best all by himself. Definitely worth a watch if you're a football fan. And if you have watched this review and enjoyed it in some way, please leave a like, please consider subscribing to the channel, and thank you very much for watching.